Hey guys, it's been a while since I've been on Facebook. Well, on the Tense Machine page at least. I've been streaming a couple times a week on my gaming page. And I keep meaning to hop on here, say hello to a few people. And every time I think about hopping on here, something comes up, and then it gets late, and then I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And then maybe it's the time when Dane's streaming, so I'm like, okay, maybe I won't stream today. And then it's another day where I'm streaming on my own page, on my gaming page, and then it's like, okay, we got to do this today. And then last time I wanted to stream is when Best Mistake passed 100,000 on Spotify. Hey, Jeremy, hey, Jessica. I wanted to stream when the Best Mistake passed 100,000 on Spotify, and it kind of got caught in between 100,000 and like 105, then 110. I'm like, okay, when it crosses 125, I'm gonna hop on and say hello to people because it's been a while. How's everybody doing? Just getting the stream up here on my laptop so that I can see some comments here. How's everybody doing? Hey Toby, hey Lauren. Whenever I'm streaming from this angle, all I see is my shelf of stuff. Everyone's probably got a place in their home where they just put things and they're like, I'll deal with this later. That shelf is my place that I put things and I'll deal with them later, sort of. So anyways, yeah, Best Mistake. Crossed 125,000 on Spotify. Pretty stoked about that. I guess next stop is 200, but mentally next stop is hopefully 250,000, which is pretty cool. Brian, how's it going? Just moving a couple of things here. Okay, I don't know if anyone remembered. A while ago, I was trying to stream with Dane, and I'm like, this has got to be easy. This has got to be an easy thing to do, where you should be able to just invite people to the chat. I just saw it pop up. Someone hopped on here and they're like, bring them on camera. I'm just like, where were you like a month ago when we were trying to find it? That being said, I was talking about Spotify. One of the other things I wanted to chat about, streaming schedule. Dane's got I basically call it the show. Dane wants to do Sundays at 6, so he's done that the last couple of weeks. So keep an eye open for that. That's going to be an ongoing thing. And then Brendan and I are going to be taking the Wednesday. We're just trying to figure out when's a good time on the Wednesday to hop on here and talk about what's going on. It's funny as we're chatting. We had a band meeting on Monday, and we're chatting about, when you're on tour, it's like you've always got stories and always things to talk about, and it's like when you're away, you're not seeing everybody. Um, you don't feel like you have that much to talk about, and then when you do actually like get on a call, you start talking about so much. It's all that stuff that you'd be talking about, before a show or in the van or hotel room or at breakfast. It's like you're always talking about things. So that's been good. So we started talking about streaming schedule, because obviously, it's really difficult for bands to perform live right now if they're not streaming. Um, Also, being a Canadian band too, like we had some things lined up for the U.S., but with the border being closed, we're really not sure when we can get back on the road right now. They just announced that it was closed for another month, so we're still trying to figure a few things out as far as what the plan's going to be. Hopefully in August or September. We were half joking to Rock USA getting on that festival was pretty awesome. We half joke like we'll always have the ad that we'll always have the poster from it. So yes, that's kind of the streaming schedule we're trying to work on. I see Tammy Lynn saying after 7 on Wednesdays. Yeah, after 7 is probably going to work. We're just trying to figure out when makes the most sense. Probably between 7 or 9. On my gaming page, I've been streaming between 8:30 and 9:30. Been hopping on there, and it's been pretty good time, especially for on the West Coast. You can hop on. So just want to check a couple comments here. Cindy, how's it going? She's saying early evening. Angela's saying, "Hey Mike, I called the place in Pennellville. You have to keep trying them." I told him we have Alan Parsons is our hookup there. He's been very kind to us, very generous to us. He handles some of the merch. It's been amazing working with him. We were trying to actually get back through there in April. With the pre-order mailouts, we had a plan to head down to the States to pick up some of our merch and pick up our CDs and do our mailouts, because it's significantly cheaper for us to mail stuff within the U.S., especially when like 90% of your orders are from the U.S. So we like that'd be good. We can grab a couple shows, so you had a few people pick up our merch, get all that stuff done. And of course, when the border got closed and stuff, and shows started getting shut down, it just everything was up in the air. So we will be back to Monterey's. I'm sure if Monterey's is open, I'm sure we can find our way back in there. Scrolling through, Scott's doing good, hanging out doing some homework. Homework is good though. Work is good. I want to say anybody that's able to work from home or able to continue their studies from home or at a distance and stuff, like it's difficult these days, but kudos to everyone that's able to make these difficult times work. Just scrolling through. Jeremy, I saw Twisted Spoke is open. Can't wait to be back there. Keep seeing wings showing up. The mouth watering wings. It's good. Scrolling through. Scott saying, is Dead Set Society dead? Dead Set's still on hiatus. We're pretty much still at the same spot we were with things back in March last year. Again, health issues, changes in personal lives. It made it difficult for us to commit to touring and moving forward the way we wanted to. So we felt it was best to just put things on hold. That being said, on my end, for those who don't know, I was diagnosed with MS at the end of 2018, and it's a fun one for drummers. I've been feeling pretty good. I kind of know what my new normal is, so as far as playing and even the Tense Machine tour in January, I felt pretty good. I didn't feel anywhere near as real talk for a moment. I didn't feel anywhere near as bad as it did at the beginning of the Fozzy tour with Dead Set when we went out at the end of 2018. Like that, the first week of that tour was really tough, and the guys were really great helping me get through it. And we brought an extra hand out with us. Shout out to Mike Diesel for doing some of the driving and just keeping spirits up and stuff, because there's a lot of driving going across Canada. But he made it fun, so that was good. But anyways, back with the health stuff. Like, I'm feeling pretty good right now. Meds have been good. It's one of the things with the medication they give you. They kind of hint at like you may have some like stomach issues or and I'm like stomach issues or like stomach issues, because they kind of brushed over that. And I was teaching at the time, and I was afraid to start the medication because I didn't want to be in class and be talking and then be like, oh, that's the stomach irritation they're talking about, and have to run out of the class, and then that'd be my introduction. So it's been good though. I think the first day, because I was teaching on the Saturdays, the first day I did take it was on the Sunday, and I'm like waiting around for something to happen, and it was good. So that's all been good. So we're just trying to figure out as far as getting back out playing stuff. It's really just getting down to the border. As our agent's been wondering what's going on, and management's been wondering what's going on. It's just everyone's in holding right now. That being said, I start to see some bands, some of their tours start to pop up, and some dates and stuff, and we see it, and we're just like, I wish it could be us. Wish we could be out there. Just checking through some of the messages here. Jeremy's saying, my MS drumming brother. Actually, Jeremy, props to you. You were great to chat with about some of these things. And again, with my diagnosis, the doctors, like the neurologists, they were surprised because basically have these lesions and spots on your brain and stuff where you have some issues. And they were surprised I didn't have any like earlier flare-ups and issues and stuff. And like I've always run myself pretty, you know, I don't want to say ragged, but like run myself pretty hard as far as work goes and exerting myself and stuff. So like being tired wasn't a big thing. It's like, yeah, you're tired sometimes. You just kind of get over it. But when I got sick, that was a whole other thing. Like my eyes stopped working and I couldn't really walk and like walk very well. My balance was terrible and stuff. But they were surprised I didn't have any earlier flare ups or noticeable symptoms and stuff like that. But just chatting with Jeremy about some of his experience, because the MS is such, it's like all over the place as far as how you might feel or how someone might be affected by it. So shout out to you, Jeremy. Much appreciated chatting about that stuff. Health stuff's always fun to talk about. I want to talk about the single. I want to talk about touring. I want to talk about the streaming schedule. U.S. radio campaign's going good. Thanks to everybody that's been tagging their favorite local rock stations. It does help. They do hear you. One station we're still trying to figure if we can wiggle our way into Sirius XM Octane. If there's any listeners for Octane, we know that they do check Twitter quite a bit to see what the action is like on there. So perhaps if someone wants to tag them. I saw their tag today. They had Octane ads. They had the new Adelita's Way. Actually, I just finished watching some of their live stream, the Hard Rock in Vegas. It's pretty cool. Again, it's pretty cool. And then also like Asterix, kind of jealous because it looks awesome that they can do stuff like that right now. Still putting shows on. Shout out to those guys. Hopefully we can tour with them too, because they're under the same umbrella as FM now. It's like the same management team, so that could be something. But yeah, shout out to if you guys wanted to tag Best Mistake and tag Octane and maybe help plant some seeds, that would be good. It's a long shot. It's a long shot for bands like us. But again, the amount of the response we got when they picked up Like a Nightmare and started spinning that and then put that into Test Drive and then went Accelerator, like it was nuts how that actually started to take off, especially once we were touring and stuff too, and just the response online and from the shows, from people knowing the song. So it would be nice to be able to wiggle our way into there and see if we could maybe get on Test Drive or something. So if you have any Octane listeners, that would be pretty awesome for people to hop in on that. I might just put like a little post together if people want to just use that as a template. People like templates, I've learned. I got maybe 10 more minutes. If anyone's got any questions, I'm just going to scroll through some of the messages here. Julie's saying take with food. Yes, that was my joke with my meds, is we'd have like cake or pizza or pie or ice cream or cookies, and I kept posting take with food with my meds. Beth saying you are a superstar. Beth, you're a superstar. Beth's super good friends with the Adelita's Way camp. That's why I know her from. She's worked merch a couple times. If you work merch, you definitely become family. People working merch. It's a thing. Any questions? Any questions? Jeremy's saying looking great. I think it's just the lighting. I got some natural lighting coming off the window here right now. I appreciate it. Feel pretty good. I will admit though, I am missing the gym. I'm missing that part of the routine. Going for walks is cool. Drums is cool. Trying to watch diet's cool, but it's not the same as I do miss the routine of going to the gym and being on the treadmill and listening to a book or a podcast or watching some sports highlights. Miss the sports highlights. Devin, how's it going? Has anyone been catching Dane's live streams on the Sundays? So he's always asking about requests. He's always asking if there's songs that he wants that people want him to cover. So maybe put up a poll or something. We can ask people if they want to vote on some requests. I like voting. Voting is good. There's some internal conversations going on in the chat right now. Any questions? We went over Best Mistake hitting 125,000 on Spotify. Went over. We can't really tour very much until the borders open. We went over my health stuff. Health stuff's pretty good. Actually, last thing I would add to the health stuff, because there's been some misinterpretation. It's like the meds that I'm on doesn't cure what's going on with me. It just will. The hopes is that it reduces the possibility of flare ups, or reduce the amount of flare ups. So that's something too. You talk about being open and honest with your bandmates about stuff, and that was a talk with Brendan and Dane about things. It's just I told them like before we decided, okay, let's try to turn this into something here. So again, I started with Dane, just wanted to help Dane get some songs out, and I did tell them just like, as long as we understand there may be a point I might not be able to go out, and you guys are totally okay to grab some else. Like I can still do some work from home, but like if I can't play drums, I don't really want to sit on the drums and not be able to play them very well, because I already feel like I can't play them that well to begin with at times. So it's good to be open and honest about that kind of stuff. We're all getting older. Life happens sometimes. Seeing Cindy's asking fantasy lineup concert. You know what? I had tickets. The lovely wife and we had tickets for Gojira and Deftones. I know Deftones was headlining, but I was pretty stoked to go see Gojira and Deftones at Echo Beach here. That's been canceled. So that would have been pretty awesome. As far as dream concerts, like I don't, or for fantasy lineups for concerts, it's like it's tough because I like so many different genres of music, and it's like, such as Tame Impala is one of my favorite bands. Like I don't see them being on the same bill as Gojira, who's also one of my favorite bands. So I guess it's like if I ever hit a point where I can just book my dream concert, that's like me and my friends, and I'll probably open it up to. I'll have like a VIP area for me and my friends, but I'll open it up to everybody because it'll be a pretty rad show. But it'd probably be like Tame Impala and Gojira and what was it? I probably just because I probably have Thundercat open because he always brings a good time. If you don't know who he is, you should look him up. As far as like a Tense Machine tour, we half joke about if we could go out with like Foo Fighters or something. We just think that'd be cool, and also like life is about collision points. It's about the opportunities that you put yourself in a situation where you may get the opportunity of something, and I just think it'd be cool to be in a situation where you could see Dave Grohl just walking down the hall doing Dave Grohl stuff. So, Foo Fighters are headlining. I don't know who direct support is. Tense Machine can open, and we can kind of just go from there. That'd probably work. Toby's saying also us Americans can tell the Border Patrol we're going to Alaska if we want to go to Canada. Yeah, I've seen articles about that. It's a bit sketch. It's sketch if you run into issues. I got a question here. Beth is asking, Freak Like Me, is that a song you created a long time ago or recently? That, a little bit of backstory. So the first 3 tunes we put out, those were all Dane songs. Those are songs that Dane kind of came to the table with, and that's why we started working on those. We're trying to get Dane a project and start to get stuff out there. Freak Like Me is a song that Brendan demoed that a long time ago. I don't know how many years ago that was. But we kind of half demoed it maybe 2 years ago, because we were throwing some ideas around for the second Dead Set record, and it was kind of in there, but it was kind of like, well, I don't know if it sounds right. So yeah, that song, like it might be like 6 years old, 7 years old, as far as like the bones of it. But it came to life when we started messing around with it a little bit when Dane was singing it. We still liked it, but we just didn't really know where to go with it. And yeah, it just kind of developed here partially in the living room here as well. So that's funny. A lot of the songs on the Tense Machine record, a lot of them I got in trouble from somebody for saying they're old songs, but a lot of the songs, they are demos from a few years ago. So it was nice to kind of revisit some of those. I don't want to say dust them off, but it's nice to revisit some of those and rework them and just kind of see if they could find a home within the project. So that was And I was glad that that song actually made the record too. There's a lot of things about it, a lot of elements to it where I was like, this, like, whenever we're demoing songs too, or we're working on like the arrangements and stuff, I always have to, well, when I'm working with bands, I always have to tell them, like, in my head, I already know how it's gonna sound. I already know sonically like what the guitar should be doing, the drums should sound like. Like, I already have a sound in my head. I just need to make that come out the speakers. And when we were listening to it, I'm just like, this could sound pretty awesome. Um, Actually, if you caught Reed Henry's got a new single at Monster. If you caught his live stream earlier, he was talking about Like a Nightmare, and I remember when he brought that song. And originally, I was just brought in to produce some songs with Reed and Brendan. And when he brought Like a Nightmare in, I heard a lot of the elements that were great about it. It was just a matter of, like, well, getting the best out of it and kind of reworking a couple things, because I remember Reed was concerned that the chorus was too wordy from it. And I'm like, no, it's cool, like, it tells a story, like, it does what it's supposed to do, and the way that it plays off the verses, and the way, like, the way that the phrasing is off the verses, like, it works, and like, people will get it and people will sing along to it, sort of thing. But like a Nightmare, I think that song was a few years old as well. Brendan and Reed were working on those. So there's always background to songs. Like, very rarely these days do I feel like a band just sits down, writes a song, records it, and puts it out. Like, there's usually a lot of stuff that's, especially when you got strong songwriters. There's usually a lot of songs that you can kind of call on and see if anyone else hears something. Just checking up on some of these. Sorry, I know I like totally went on like a tangent there, Beth. I guess it's like Freak is kind of an older tune, but it's new now. It's fun to play too. It's really fun to play live. Cindy, say any fellow drummers you idolized growing up? I'm assuming there's a typo in there, or a autocorrect crime going on there. My drummers growing up, it was the guy from the Hives. It was Tim Alexander from Primus. And it's hard because, like, everyone loves Neil Peart from Rush, which I do as well. But, like, my main guy was Tim Alexander from Primus, and I feel like Tim and Neil had such a similar style, but like very different bands they had to work within. And I always thought it'd be awesome to hear, Neil play with Primus and for Tim to play with Rush. I know, like, Rush fans would be like, no, this is not happening, but I just thought it would be cool. And actually, this ties in well to with some of the this ties in well with some of the things that are going on these days. D.H. Peligro, the drummer for Dead Kennedys. I have a punk background. That's the music I got into playing in high school. There was a lot of funk and jazz bands and like classic rock bands going on when I was in high school. And long story short, I was like, I don't want to do any of this because this isn't cool. So me and a couple friends, Tony and Chris, that's a whole other story. That's probably a chapter in the book about how all that stuff kind of came to be, and how things kind of how music kind of shaped my life and stuff. But anyways, we definitely took a page of Dead Kennedys and their punk style and their approach and stuff. And it was a while until I actually saw a picture of that band. I always just loved the music and I thought it was awesome. D.H. Peligro, the drummer, when I finally saw the band, there was a black guy in the band. And I remember thinking, like, this is so weird because that's a punk band with a black guy in the band. Because at that time, like in the 80s, it's like you kind of didn't have black guys in punk bands. It just was like, yeah, there's Bad Brains and stuff, but there wasn't like, it just wasn't a thing. You just didn't see it. So for me, like a non-white kid in a very white city, with dreads and spiked out with collar and painted nails and stuff, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing to see somebody that, in a way, it's like that kind of looks like me. He's like I'm a mixed kid, but it's like see like a black guy in a punk band, and like it kind of made it okay. And it's a really weird thing to think about because when you're in music or you're in sports, I think it's really important to have some people that look like you that are playing at an exceptional level and are playing in successful bands or playing on successful teams, and you can go, like, I can do this too. And that's like my 14, 15-year-old brain, like cluing into some of this stuff. And like I think back, I'm just like, I wonder if I didn't have someone like him, because it was not like I idolized him, but like someone like him at that time had a lot more to fight through than someone like me. And you know, real talk, I like a mini story with my punk band. I remember we were playing in Ottawa actually, and the way that the stage was set up, it was really, there's these huge like risers on it, and the drums were way at the top, and there's these two like idiot punk guys at the front that thought it'd be really funny to try and spit on me from where they were. And I'll put this in the book, but they're trying to spit on me way in the back. I don't really care that much because I know that I'm okay. I know that the people that I'm with, if anything goes wrong, I will not have to lift a finger. We had the legendary Doug Hell was standing off to the side, and he was standing side stage, and he was just watching them. And Doug's big. Doug is a big guy. Like we're talking like well into 6'4", and he's got the weight to match. And he was just staring, and I remember him looking at me and staring back. And I'm like, I'm okay. I remember they hit Chris, our singer, and Chris picked up his microphone stand. It was the round bottom bass microphone stand. He picked it up and he like lunged forward, and I saw the mic stand like cover the guy's face. And all I was thinking was, it was like if you're watching one of those shows from the 90s where like they stop and the narrator comes on, like, this was a life-defining moment for Chris. That's all I was thinking, was like, if you hit someone in the face with a round bottom stand, their face will probably explode. Chris removed the mic stand. He didn't actually hit the guy. He just kind of scared him a little bit. And I remember all I was like, that's what actually got my heart going. I was like, I think Chris may have just killed somebody. And luckily he didn't. Those guys got kicked out. I don't know if Doug spoke to them outside after the show, sort of thing. But back to the original story with drummers, you know, you kind of look up to and stuff. Again, Deej Peligro from Dead Kennedys. Again, it's just the day and age that we're in. We want to believe that music is a safe space, and we've got a lot of room for everybody. But for some reason, there's a few people that can mess things up for people and discourage them. And I'd say definitely in sports, definitely in hockey. I know some people that had a rough go just because of the color of their skin, trying to move up the ranks and the ladder a little bit. And it's very the same, and it's very similar in music, especially in some of the genres. So, anyways, that's a good question. Hope that answered the question. Appreciate everyone hopping on here. Yeah, things are looking pretty good as far as like what we're able to do with the I don't want to say it doesn't even feel like quarantine anymore. But as far as the rest of the year, there is, I think, some light at the end of the tunnel. We'll keep everyone posted. We'll be back out on tours as soon as we can. So thanks everyone for hopping on. Again, thanks everybody that's been sending the message along, spreading the word about Best Mistake. And if you're a fan of Octane, they do check Twitter. So if you want to message and tag them to play Best Mistake and or put it into Test Drive, that would be much appreciated. And again, just to bring it back again, Reed's got a new single called Monster out. I think a lot of people that are in here probably heard it already. Check it out if you haven't already. Anyways, I gotta get going. Thanks for hanging out. Talk to you later.